What up, everybody? It's your boy, the Kryptonian Saiyan here, bringing you a review for One Piece Chapter 61. Now, the cover story for this chapter proves that I was right. Richie the Lion is now the fucking boss of the Buggy's pirate crew. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. That's, comedy, and I could kind of, roll with that because, Richie was used as a shield during the Buggy the Clown arc. So, I mean, it's kind of nice to kind of see him and, just the expression he has on the cover page. That was pretty cool. But moving on to this chapter, this was alright. This chapter wasn't as good as the last one, but there was more plot progression, and that's what's needed because if we would have stayed too much further on the sentimental part, I would have called bullshit at this point because you've done enough to kind of build up Sanji's character to make him honorable and to even just build on Gin and just to have Don Krieg say, honor and mercy, there's no room for that on the battlefield. All that matters is victory. So to have Don Krieg kind of be the person who kind of moves this chapter and this arc forward, really good for pacing. I really appreciated that. And that's what I mean. I'm really appreciating Oda's writing style because just when I'm saying, okay, let's speed this up or let's slow things down to look at it, he's doing those things. I mean, very great writing here. Very great. I can really appreciate that. Now, the thing about this chapter is Don Krieg basically steps in and he's using the MH5, which I thought was the shield because when he's saying I'm going to use that attack, everyone's saying MH5 and it shows the shield. Well, he tells Luffy that he's going to use a cannonball, right? And it's going to be a poison cannonball. And Luffy's like, whatever, if it's a cannonball, I'll shoot it back at you. If it's a poison cannonball, I'll just kick it into the water, which I thought was really interesting for two reasons. All of the cooks that were in the water, as well as the Don Krieg's pirates, they're in the water, and Luffy is going to kick it in there. And this is the thing: Luffy starts to do that, and I'm going, you're about to commit mass murder right here if you do this. Obviously, Luffy being the naive guy that he is, he's looking at this and he's like, oh, okay, this is cannonball. I've got it. And that's when it breaks apart. And I thought that was pretty cool because if you look, you got shurikens kind of inside of it. And Sanji shows some very quick reflexes. I knew that he was good on his feet in terms of with combat, but I didn't know that he had those types of reflexes. So that was pretty interesting. And for Luffy to say, okay, there's a point for you for this. I think Luffy understands the severity of the situation he's in, but I think that his youth and his childlike mentality up here is kind of showing because only a child would look at a battle, a life and death situation as a game, which really says a lot because when Luffy does get pushed to that point where he reaches his breaking point, he's going to unlock a different level of strength because if you're still looking at a situation like this as some type of a game, the stakes are not high enough for you, which means that you have not used your full potential. It's similar like when somebody's lifting weights, you get a spotter and you automatically try to lift more. Studies have even shown that, men tend to lift more whenever there's women around because something about a woman's scent, particularly if you're attracted to her, will cause you to lift more. And I've talked about this before about breaking through the mental part in order to access more power. It's the same thing for your mentality and for your emotional state. Luffy's still going unrestrained. And, so I thought that was interesting. And just to speak on Luffy's mind state, there was this one scene in there where in the very beginning of the chapter, Luffy does something I would have done. And that's be very blunt. This gets me in trouble a lot because I use a lot of logic when I speak to people, but I have a very smart mouth. And I'm very blunt. So I'm the worst kind of smart ass that there is. It's because I will insult you and I will use facts to do it. And I will say it in a way that I know gets under your skin. But I just don't care. And that's exactly what Luffy did. He's just like, I don't care who you are. He says, you're not tough. There's just so many of you. And if you look, these guys are all getting upset. And that's when Don Krieg has to basically tell him, like, look, man, you need to chill out because Sanji knows what he's doing. Sanji says, you hit him where it hurts. And Luffy says, because it's true. And right here, these guys are getting so worked up. And that's when Don Krieg has to tell him to stand down. And he says, getting all worked up over being called wimps only shows that you acknowledge your weakness. And that goes back to what I've told you guys before. Like, if you can get inside the mind of your opponent, no matter what it is you're doing, if you can get inside their mind, you've already won. You've already got the upper hand, the advantage. So at this point, you can make them do whatever it is you need them to do. So very nice at this point. I really enjoy just that part of it because it shows that even if Luffy didn't do this on purpose, whenever he does start thinking out his actions, if he can kind of get inside of people's minds while he's fighting or find a way to break their spirit, that's going to make him even more dangerous, especially when he gets his power-ups. And let's be honest here, it's a shonen. You know that he's going to be getting some type of power-up. But I thought that it was interesting that basically Gin and Sanji are kind of going at it. And, you know, Sanji, for as quick as his reflexes are, he gets caught off guard. If you'll look right here, Gin ducks underneath one of his kicks, and I'm willing to bet that with how strong Sanji's legs are, if he would have landed a direct blow, he probably would have knocked Gin out. You know, to use an old 2000s expression, you know, that's what we call a mollywop, you know, like just that one-hitter quitter. And right here, you know, Gin says, they call me the demon man. And Sanji knows that he's been caught. Because right here, he's got those like metal, looks like nunchucks with the weighted balls on the end. He's got that right over his throat. So theoretically, he could crush his throat if he needs to. And I think that that is huge because Luffy is getting ready to take on Don Krieg. So Luffy can't step in. So we're really going to see what Sanji can kind of do. You know, I'm kind of wondering, and this is, and you can tell this because I've read a lot of Naruto, I'm kind of wondering if Gin is going to get taught no jutsu at this point. Because Sanji's going to be in a position where he can't really fight back. I'm wondering if he's going to say something to kind of get through to him. But my chapter question for you guys is going to be, what were your thoughts when Luffy called Don Krieg's pirates weak? And the reason why I'm asking that is I was thinking more about the fact that Luffy is just being blunt. And he's basically telling him, like, look, you guys are way beneath me. I didn't think Luffy grasped the whole concept of acknowledging your weakness. So let me rephrase this question. When you read this or when you saw this in the anime and Don Krieg said, when you acknowledge, when you get upset over them calling you wimps, you're acknowledging your weakness. How did that hit you? And was there ever a time when you were told something similar, or you found yourself in a position where you yourself had a weakness that other people said, like, look, you're getting upset, and you're getting upset because it's true? You know, for me, I can point out a bunch of different ways, but that'll be another video for another time, guys. But that's it for this review. If you liked anything I had to say, make sure you comment, rate, subscribe, and share. As always, I'll greatly appreciate it. That's it. Thanks for watching Kryptonian Say.